Hi, PerspectaWeather.com meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Friday, June 29th. A heat wave begins today here in the Mid-Atlantic region. It looks like it'll last for about a week, probably ending up being the worst stretch of the summer in terms of heat and humidity. We'll have high temperatures well up in the 90s over the weekend into the early part of next week. Could even be a flirtation with a 100-degree mark in some spots on Sunday and Monday, for example. Humidity levels will be quite uncomfortable. Certainly is the possibility for some record highs to fall during this heat wave. Perhaps even more likely is the possibility that there'll be some record warm overnight lows. The humidity will get so high by the latter part of the weekend and the early part of next week. Overnight temperature drops will be minimal, perhaps only dropping down to about 80 degrees or so, for example, in some of the urban areas in the I-95 corridor region from D.C. to Philadelphia to New York City. Not much relief at all this weekend in terms of rainfall. In fact, no rain is likely in the Mid-Atlantic region this week, and the only chance for relief will be going down to the beaches, Jersey Shore, for example. A sea breeze should form each afternoon, and that'll, of course, make it much cooler right at the beach compared to any inland location. But the bottom line, a heat wave begins today. It looks like it'll last for about a week. Very good chance that a cool front ends the heat wave probably around a week from now, next Friday or so. But the worst stretch of summer coming up over the next 7 days. This is the forecast map from last night's 6Z GFS model run for the high temperatures Sunday afternoon. And while the GFS has been probably on the excessive side in terms of its predictions here, it certainly sends a red flag. And basically, it has plus or minus a few degrees of 100 up and down the I-95 corridor region for Sunday afternoon. Give or take a few degrees, maybe upper 90s, maybe 100 to 102 in some areas as depicted here by the GFS model run. Bottom line is, Sunday looks like a brutally hot day with high humidity levels as well, and that excessive heat will spill over into Monday, probably around 90 degrees this afternoon in D.C., Philadelphia, New York City as we begin the heat wave, and then well up in the 90s on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Basically looks like 90 plus degrees all of next week as well, and that includes the 4th of July holiday on Wednesday. Well, let's now take a look at the ensemble run of the GFS from 6Z, and we're looking at 500 millibar height anomalies going forward here. This is this morning, Friday morning, and some interesting things happen with respect to this high pressure ridging that first sets up over the Mid-Atlantic region over the weekend, and then it starts to retrograde. That basically means it moves to the west during the early part of next week. By the early and middle part of next week, excessive high pressure ridging will really stretch all the way across the northern U.S. and then it sets up shop, focused mostly on the western part of the U.S. by the end of next week. That allows for a northwest flow of air around here in the Great Lakes and northeast U.S., and that should result in a cool frontal passage in about a week or so. So let's walk through these maps from tropicaltidbits.com, 6-hour increments. Here we go. Orange on these particular maps represent above normal heights. We're at the middle levels of the atmosphere, 500 millibar level. And notice how it just sets up shop over the northeast U.S. And this heat wave will be perhaps worse relative to normal in places like New York City and interior southeastern New York, northwestern New Jersey. Not necessarily the worst of this over D.C. in this particular case, and that's because the high pressure ridging really sets up right over Pennsylvania in terms of relative to normal, the worst of it, right over Pennsylvania. So all of New England will be very hot as well. And again, not only could there be some record high temperatures falling over the next several days, but a record warm low temperatures are possible, especially Sunday night, Monday night, for example. Let's keep moving forward here. Here we go. Here's what I mean by early Sunday. The worst of this particular abnormal height pattern is centered over Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York City, all the way down to northern Maryland, and all these areas will experience excessive heat and humidity on Sunday and Monday. And then this starts to try to move to the north and east, but it'll kind of run into a brick wall and then expand westward and basically start to retrograde. Here we are now by the middle of next week. Very hot look to the 4th of July in the Great Lakes, in the northeastern U.S., in the mid-Atlantic region. This is very hot pattern continuing right through the middle of next week, and again, the 4th of July holiday on Wednesday. And then it starts to retrograde, starts to shift to the west. Notice this area right here. This is the 597 decameter contour line right here, and it starts to shift over into the interior part of the western U.S. by this time right here. And here we are by the end of next week, let's say Friday night time frame. So basically the highest heights relative to normal start shifting to the west during the week next week. For a while there, much of the nation will be above normal from west to east, from the west coast to the east coast. But by the end of next week, as it starts to set up over the interior western U.S., will be a northwest flow in the upper part of the atmosphere right here following these lines in the northeast U.S. That should allow for the passage of a cool frontal system, perhaps next Friday night, Saturday time frame, breaking the back of the heat wave that, again, we expect for a week from this day, this Friday, to next Friday. Let's keep moving forward here. Again, it kind of focuses down there over the southwestern U.S., northwest flow. This is a week from tomorrow, Saturday, July 7th. Northwest flow here. Relatively normal conditions, maybe slightly above normal conditions by the end of next week, or certainly by the weekend, a week from tomorrow. Now notice also blues showing up here over Florida, the Gulf of Mexico. We've talked about this before. Whenever high pressure ridging sets up to the north, southeastern Canada or northeast U.S. this time of the year, you have to watch underneath, because the flow of air from the east to the west could very well push tropical systems into the Bahamas, into Florida, the Gulf of Mexico, and here we are. There's some indication by about a week from now there might be something to watch over the eastern Gulf of Mexico. So we have to watch the tropics during next week when the Northeast and the Midwest experience this heat wave. Well, let's now walk through the surface forecast maps from last night's 6Z GFS model run. One thing we'll notice is rain-free conditions here depicted by the GFS, not only this weekend, but only a slight chance of some scattered showers and thunderstorms, it looks like, for Monday and Tuesday of next week. So don't look for any relief from scattered thunderstorms. It just won't happen this week. And again, the only area for relief will be along the Atlantic Ocean beaches, New Jersey shore, for example. A sea breeze should form each day, and that'll, of course, cut down temperatures dramatically right at the coastline compared to inland locations. Here we go. High pressure centered over the Mid-Atlantic region as we begin the weekend here. And a hot pattern, 90 degrees today, well up in the 90s on Saturday and Sunday. Here we are by Sunday morning. High pressure still sitting right on top of the Mid-Atlantic region. No green, no precipitation here showing up anywhere in the Mid-Atlantic region this entire weekend. Rain-free conditions. Now, by the early part of next week, and again, Sunday, excessively hot day here. Here we go by Monday morning. Humidity will be at such high levels that don't expect much relief in the overnight hours. Maybe just down to about 80 degrees for overnight lows in the urban areas of D.C., Philadelphia, New York City. That means starting off the day on Monday at 80 degrees as a possibility. Only scattered showers and thunderstorms start to show up here, mostly inland locations over the mountains come late Monday night. Perhaps we'll get a little bit of a spillover of the mountains into the I-95 corridor with some showers and thunderstorms late Monday or Monday night. Again, a slight chance of showers and thunderstorms on Tuesday night. This is Tuesday night. And also on Wednesday, the 4th of July, a slight chance of showers and thunderstorms. The best chance will be, again, over the higher elevations, central and western Pennsylvania, for example, western Maryland, on those 3 days. And continuation of 90 plus degrees for afternoon highs on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Then let's keep moving forward here. At this time, again, that high level ridging in the upper part of the atmosphere shifts to being focused over the interior western U.S., and that basically allows for northwesterly flow of air in the upper part of the atmosphere by about Friday of next week, about a week from now. And here we go. By Friday morning, a week from right now, high pressure, thankfully, showing up here in south central Canada, the northern plains, and there should be a cool frontal system associated with this. And here we go by next Friday night. GFS has a nice cool frontal passage headed to the I-95 corridor, located right in this region, right here at this time. This is about a week from now. A cool frontal system with a nice high pressure system backing it up. So again, it looks like this heat wave will last for about a week. Probably turn out to be the worst stretch of the entire summer in terms of heat and humidity in the mid-Atlantic region. The reason I'm saying that is once this frontal passage passes by in a week from now, there are signs that that high pressure ridging will remain focused out in the western U.S. and a trough will try to form over the longer term, over the Great Lakes and northeast U.S. during the second half of July and maybe continue into August. And that should alleviate the heat here in the northeast U.S. for the second half of July and perhaps even the month of August. So again, this next week will be perhaps the worst stretch that summer has to offer for folks in the northeast U.S. and the mid-Atlantic region. But it'll be a tough time to get through here. High temperatures way up in the 90s on Sunday, Monday, perhaps even a flirtation with the 100-degree mark. So stay cool over the next week or so. A cool frontal passage will probably end this heat wave in about a week. That's it for now. For PerspectaWeather.com, I'm meteorologist Paul Dorian.